Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, all across the world from Millbrook to Lisbon. How you doing? Mr. Aaron is back here. This is Quadratics video number 11. This one is also on solving quadratic equations. Our third method I'm going to show you guys, the graphing method. Basically, you graph these equations, whether by hand, probably not, on a calculator, probably yes, or better yet, a Desmos app on your iPads, which I'll show you in class, not in the video. Anyways, so here's the first example. I've got this equation right here, the 5x plus x squared equals 7. So the first thing I'm going to do here is reorder it. So I'm going to basically subtract 7 from both sides. So now I have this. Try that again. X squared. That's terrible squared. X squared plus 5x minus 7 equals 0. You always want to have everything on the same side with these methods. So I have this. So what I'm going to do now is just graph this. I'm going to graph the equation y equals this x squared plus 5x minus 7. And at that point, don't worry about that. So I'm going to show you a little photo sequence here. So I type this in right here, right? The y equals button right there. Type in this equation. Boom. Hit the graph button. Here's your graph. Boom, again. If you don't see something like this, and it looks kind of funky, it's zoomed in, zoomed out, it's just you can't see it or something, make sure that that little equal sign here is highlighted. If it's not, go over and press enter. Otherwise, if you just can't see the graph or only see part of it, again, the zoom button and the sixth option, zoom standard, takes you back to a regular 10 by 10 window. Okay, so basically, my answers are going to be that x value right there and that x value right there. I'm trying to find the zeros. Again, my equation equaled 0. I did that on purpose. That's why I got everything on the other side. So those 2 points I circled in yellow are my answers, whatever those x values are. This one doesn't factor, by the way. You can't multiply -7 and add to 5 with whole numbers. So this is really the only method you have. That or the next video. Anyways, so what I do is I hit second, calculate, the 0 option. The 0 finds those points. So I press enter. Now it gets a little dicey. So I'm going to find the left one first, the negative value. So what it's going to do, it's going to ask you for left bound, question mark. What this means is you're going to basically pick a point left of the 0. So here's the 0. Pick a point left of it. I did right there. Press enter. It's going to keep a little arrow there, which is good. Then it's going to ask for right bound. So I found a point right of my 0. Right there. Because again, the 0 is right here. And then guess. So I basically marked these 2 points. So I've told it where to look. It's going to look in this area for a 0. And the guess means just pick a point as close as you can. I did it right there. Press enter, and here's what it tells you. My 0 is that number right there, and look, there it is. So that means that x equals -6.14. I'll round to the nearest hundredth. So that found me one of my zeros. Well, there was 2. There's also this one here. So I'm just going to repeat the process. I'm not going to show all the steps this time, but again, I'll talk about them. So I want to find this 0 here. So what I do is I pick a point. It's going to ask for left bound, left. So somewhere over here, and press enter. When it asks for right bound, I find a point right of that 0 and press enter. And then it says guess. So I try and get a point as close as I can with my cursor. Press enter. And it gives me this for the other 0. So that means x is also, or x is 1.14. So these are my 2 answers. And again, these are not whole numbers. These are really long decimals. So this wouldn't factor that way. Because before you probably had whole number answers. So there you go. There's one example. I'm going to show you one more. Okay, so here is my second example. Again, the first thing I want to do is reorder. So reorder the equation. that basically means is you want everything on the same side. So you want all your stuff on the equation equals 0. So what that means in this one is I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So now I have negative 3x squared plus 4x minus 4 equals 0. So now, let's just go ahead and graph that. So type it in and graph it. And when I do that, here's my graph. But wait a minute. Your 0, so the 0 is trying to find, that's your x-intercept. Well, here's the x-axis. There are no zeros here. So that means is we have no solution. So if you have no zeros, and again, zeros is another word for x-intercepts. Out of room here. X-intercepts. I just ran out of room. If you don't have any zeros here because it never hits this line, then you have no solution. So the last one had 2 times where it hit the x-axis there and there. I had 2 solutions. This one, I have none. So I'm going to show just one more here, but I'll do it quickly. So here is my quadratic equation. Y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. This should actually be a 0, not a y. So I've already got everything on the same side. So again, graph it and find the zeros. So go ahead and do that yourself. I'm just going to show you the answer at the end. So I'm going to kind of leave a few seconds of blank space here and just go ahead and try and pause the video, find these zeros, and I'll show you the answers at the bottom. Ready? Go. Okay, so I did the whole process 2 times. Did it for the 0 right there and the 0 right there. So for the one on the left, there's my answer. So for the one on the right, it's over here, there's my answer. So my 2 answers are x equals negative 3.24, just round to the nearest hundredth, that's fine, and x equals 1.24. So these are my answers. Again, they're not whole numbers. The original equation doesn't factor. So this is the best method to use in my opinion. If you have any questions, guys, please ask me how to do this. This process can be a little weird before you figure it out. Once you know how to do it, it's pretty easy. But if you're not sure what buttons to press, go watch the first example again. If you're still not sure, ask someone else. Ask me, please. Ask me, ask me, ask me. Okay, that's all for now, guys. Go to the next video. Thanks for watching. See you later.